Hello, welcome to the All or Nothing podcast. Our official sponsors are KR Couriers and Transport Limited. This is a Northwest based courier company delivering all across the UK. They can assist in home moves and removals to large, heavy and bulky items, collections and drop-offs. Fast, safe and reliable deliveries. Please get in touch for a free quote. You'll find all the information within the description. Thank you. Hello everybody and welcome to the All or Nothing podcast with myself, Billy Moore, and today's special guest is none other than former Liverpool goalkeeper, Chris Kirkland.
Good to meet you, mate.
Chris, you're more than just a goalie.
Again.
Yeah,
tried to be, mate, yeah. We had a good chat, didn't we, the other week on the weapons down, gloves up. So yeah, try and help people as much as I can now. While obviously still, as you know, still going through it yourself on a daily basis.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself so the people that don't know you get to know who you are.
Yeah, so obviously played professional football for 19 years, started at Coventry, but always supported Liverpool, so I used to stand on the Kop as a kid. My dad took me when I was 7 to the first game. So, and then obviously signed for Liverpool, Wigan. Liverpool, obviously injuries didn't help, but listen, I'd do it all again for one game. But it was when I left Wigan in 2012. I was there 6 years, same routine. We lived just down the road. Could pick Lucy up from school, drop her off in the mornings, go to the school plays, all that sort of stuff. And then I was travelling to and from Sheffield because we didn't want to uproot. Lucy was in school. And that's when my problem started. Before that, I get asked this all the time, never suffered really with mental health or anything like that. I was happy, I was playing football, great home life. But then the travelling started to make me really anxious. It was for 11 years when we moved up to Liverpool in 2001 to 2012, the routine was the same. Yeah. Liverpool was 15 minutes from home, Wigan was 15 minutes from home. But it's all the important things that I started to miss, the family stuff, and it became very anxious when I was getting up in the mornings early to set off to Sheffield. And 2 days before the first game, this is where it all started. So when I went to Sheffield, there's a clause in the contract because obviously I'd had back injuries, back issues, which it was fine. There was no problem at Wigan. I just wasn't preferred the last two seasons. Before that, I played every game for 4 years. But when I went to Sheffield, they were a little bit concerned and said, look, if you missed 4 games with your back, we can rip the deal up. Nobody knew about this clause, and I was more than happy because I knew that the back was fine. But 2 days before the first game for Sheffield Wednesday, I got a back injury. And I thought, if I don't play on Saturday, I'm going to get crucified. Because everyone was saying, why they signed him for and all this sort of stuff. So I got hold of some painkillers, tramadol. Not only did they help me to play on the Saturday, but they helped with the anxiety. As you know, you reach for things sometimes that help you mentally as well. And then it just went downhill from there.
With the tramadol?
Tramadol, yeah. And then obviously, after it was at the start, I said, I'll only take these when I travel to and from Sheffield, which was probably 4 times a week. But as you know, it quickly gets older, and you take more and more.
Definitely, and I know I've had a massive experience with tramadol. I remember, when I got arrested when I was in Thailand, the only drug I could get my hands on, right, was tramadol because I was addicted to opiate-based drugs anyway. Tramadol, it was a synthetic opiate for me. It served a purpose, but I was taking 10 of them every single day.
What strength? 50s?
50s, all at once.
Yes, all at once.
Yeah, so these were like green and yellow.
Yeah, little green ones. So I took them ones, but then I went to the prolonged release ones.
So the tablets.
Yeah, so then I was on. They're 200 milligrams. But I was taking 10 of them a day. So
I was biting into them.
Yeah.
So they'd act a little bit faster.
I'll tell you where I got that from. House. Seen House?
No.
I can't remember the British actor. He was addicted to Vicodin, and he was in it was a TV program, but he used to do that. He used to chew them. So that's where I got that from.
That's exactly what I did. It was like it was a quicker fix for me.
Yeah.
So you've spiraled without unknowingly, I believe, because once you get, people don't get to understand this. Like you can take painkillers, opiate-based painkillers, and you're meant to take them for a short period of time. Right? You take them for a long period of time. Your body starts withdrawing. Yeah. Feeling the pain. And is that what happened for you? Did you start feeling a little bit like you must have been at a point where you thought, I haven't got any? What the fuck am I feeling here?
Yeah. So the first time, after about 3 months, I thought, I was starting to think about it. last thing at night, first thing in the morning. Well, I'm travelling. I'll take these at this time. I'll get to training. And the first time I noticed it, when I knew there was an issue, was when I didn't take any for a couple of days, and I went to training, and I was blowing, like proper blowing it, and I was thinking, why am I feeling like this? I'm not fit as a fiddle. You know, they helped me to without them, I couldn't train, and which is weird because for 12, 15 years before that, I didn't have them, and I was fit as a fiddle. But that's and then I took some, and it made me feel a lot better. And I was thinking, whoa, I'm in trouble here. But by then it gets a grip of you, and you can't stop. Yeah,
and you're taking them, and it's like, you realise that you start hiding
everywhere.
Yeah,
and it'd be in the car, in the wash bag.
It becomes and you can justify it. The mad thing about it is that you can minimalize everything. You can justify. You can make excuses. You'll talk to yourself in your own voice about how you need it and how it's important. But you don't realise that you're over medicating.
Yeah.
Well, you do realise, but
I don't think you realise though, properly realise until after you've stopped.
Yeah.
And then when you look back and think, oh my God, I actually used to do that. I used to hide them in my glove bag. Before during games at half time, I had them on the pitch. But when you at the time though, like you said, you think, oh, that's normal. That's fine. That's what I need to do. But when you look back and think some of the stuff you did to get hold of painkillers, frightening. But that's what it does to you. I knew after about 3 months that I was getting really dependent on them.
So the dependency part of like Chris, I know the experience and the withdrawals are quite painful. That experience. What was that like for you?
The withdrawals, tough. So I when I first come out in 2017 and retired, I said it was through mental health. 2016, and didn't say anything about the painkillers. PFA knew, but I didn't come out and say anything, and that because I always knew. I thought I'm going to go back on these. 2019, I went to rehab, and that's the first time when I detoxed, went withdrawals, and I was fine. I don't know how, but 2 days maybe ish, and I thought, oh, that's all right. And then I went to rehab, so I didn't have to go into the detox centre. Started back up during lockdown, and the withdrawals this time, so nearly it's coming up to a year on the 17th of April. Nearly a year. The withdrawals for a week to 10 days were just horrendous. Mrs. stepped in a spare room because I said, look, I need to, you're not going to get any sleep. I was sweating, I was in the corner, I was being sick. It's just, because when I was going to go through, I thought, well, I did this last time, it was okay.
And you can't sleep?
I can't sleep, your legs are twitching, you got cramps all over your body. It was horrendous. But what we did this time was we made sure that we set things up so I couldn't go and get any. I couldn't ring the doctors. So went into the doctors with the wife, Leona, said, look, I'm going to go through this now. If I ring up, I do not want you to give me any. The doctors have to speak to Leona now. I'm not on it. The only thing I'm on is sertraline at the minute. Got drug tests in the house, so Leona could test me anytime. Because if there's with addiction, if you know there's a way of
manipulating,
maybe getting some, maybe I could get some from there. So we set things up. The postman told the postman never to give me packages, so he has to give everything that comes to the house now to Leona. So we set things up and
safeguarded everything,
everything, and told everyone. So come out and told the world, because I thought if I'm going to beat this, there's no hiding place. Because I went back twice before on some because I knew I could, because I knew that I could get away with it. But this time we did that. So. But yeah, for the first 5-6 days where you've been through, it's one of the toughest things I've ever had to do, and I wouldn't want to do it again.
And that's that's the important thing about when you admit you've got a problem and you reach out for help, right? Is to expose everything.
Not for sympathy, not for anything like that. It's to make sure I knew I couldn't. There was no way I could, hide it.
Well, secrets keep you sick. Yeah. That's an old saying I heard years ago. You keep them secrets to yourself. You don't share what's going on. You're hiding, you're manipulating, you're doing all that. Yeah. Right? It'll keep you in that place. Yeah. It'll keep you in that dark place. So, I've been there, I've experienced there, and what was the rehab? Was it a 12-step rehab?
No, it was a slightly different one. So this was in 2019, so I rang the PFA who's got the sporting chance. But they said, look, it's 3.5 month waiting list to get in. I said, I ain't got 3.5 days. So we just got on the internet, me and the missus, and we found Parkland Place in North Wales. It's about an hour and 15 away. Emailed them, rang up, said, look, I'm addicted to painkillers. I'm a former footballer. Can I come in? And they rang me straight away and said, look, you can come in now if you want. Yeah. I went in the day after because I needed to get a few bits ready. And then went down there, and it was the first 2 days I hated it because you're in group sessions and you're thinking, I don't need to be here. I'm not like them.
Yeah.
But then when you hear stories and you think, I am. That is me.
Yeah.
So I rang the owner after the fact. I can't do that. I can't do that. She went, you've got to. She said, stick at it, and you will get it eventually. So after 3 days, then I couldn't wait to get down in the morning for the group sessions. But it was. Again, I didn't come out and tell people. So I was in there for mental health as well, because it messes you up. But the real reason I didn't, and that's when I come out and then lockdown hit. If lockdown wouldn't hit, would I have gone back onto them? Probably, yeah, because I could have done, because nobody knew. But this time it's totally different now. So there's no hiding place, and you look back on photos. I think somebody sent me a video from when I come out in 2016, 17, and you could see it in my eyes. And now, like, you look back at pictures, and this is a thing, like, the owner will say, well, how did I not see that?
Yeah.
But you lie, you deceive, you do all that sort of stuff. But when you look back now, it's so obvious.
Yeah,
it's so obvious.
It's the awareness is there now. Yeah. It isn't there when you're using it. It's like, you're blinded. You could look in the mirror and tell yourself you look gorgeous. Yeah. When everyone around you's like, what's up with you?
What's up with you?
What's wrong with you?
Makes sense. A lot of people say now, I remember that. I remember this time when I met you, and I remember this, and all makes sense now, because you didn't see him with it, you didn't see him, but now it's totally different now. Annoying people another way now. It's
quite it's quite nice to actually speak to someone who's on the a different kind of scale, an addiction, because it was always, people see addicts or people who have been addicted to a substance of some sort, as rock bottom on the floor, homeless, this, that, and the other. They don't realise that addiction doesn't
you still function,
but it doesn't exclude anyone, whether you're rich, famous, whether you're poor, it doesn't exclude. It takes no prisoners.
No, I do you know what, and this is when so before this was around 2000, and I remember saying to Leona, and one of her friends or a friend of a friend got told they had to stop drinking or they were going to die. Now back then I would have said, well, that's easy. You just stop. Do you want to die or do you want to live? You stop. Easy. Yeah. And then I always think of that now, thinking, my God, how wrong was I? Because it's far from easy. And it's not addiction, it just gets a grip of you, doesn't it? And
so, explain, just for the audience, what addiction means to you. That's a good question.
I always said, so I knew I was addiction when it was the last thing I thought about at night and the first thing I thought about in the morning. So at night I was thinking, right, I'm going to take these at this time. Got some in the car, they're all ready. I'd get things ready the night before. As soon as I got in the car in the morning at 5:45, they'd be on the chair next to me. And then first thing in the morning, bang, take them. And then I was thinking about, right, I can take some more at this time, 1 o'clock. Then I've got to wait another couple of hours. But in the end, you don't wait 4 hours. Like you said, you took 10 in one go. Yeah. You just take them whenever. I mean, I was taking, at my worst, 2,500 milligrams a day. At my worst.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
So there was a card that I memorised, Chris, right? Yeah. And what you've just said there, right, how you've described what addiction means to you, there was a card and it says, who is an addict? Most of us don't have to think twice about this question. We know our whole life and thinking was centred in drugs in one form or another. They're getting and using and finding ways and means to get more. We live to use and use to live. Very simply, an addict is a man or a woman whose life is controlled by drugs. We are people in the grip of a continuing progressive illness whose ends are always the same. Jails, institutions or death. Now, I memorised that because I read it every night. And when I first got clean, what does addiction mean to me? I can't go to bed at night without worrying if I got something for tomorrow. We've got to zigzag here, go here. That was my whole life and thinking was centred around that.
Yeah.
I was missing out on everything, my family, my friends, the people who cared about me, the people I loved. The most important thing in my life was using and getting it and getting high. And then the guilt and the shame.
Never did it again.
Yeah,
next day, bang.
It was always...
it's a routine.
It is.
It's a routine.
And it's like, I'm sorry. And I could pass a lie detector test, Chris, that I meant it. Every fibre in my body was like, you'll never do that again, right? And I'm sorry, I won't. And I believed myself, right? And if you do, you won't do that again. But that overwhelming feeling of that need for it to change that.
You've got no chance in it.
Oh no, mate!
You got no chance.
It's horrible, and that's why I share little uploads and little stories about my experience.
I seen the one this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I believe. I like I said, I miss drugs.
Yeah.
I loved using them. I just hate the consequences. You know, if I didn't like them, I wouldn't have took them.
Yeah.
For so long. You know, it was only when it became a problem that I had to stop. And then when I had to stop, it was like, fucking hell.
You get a point, don't you?
It's a relationship, isn't it?
You get to a point where you hit that point where you know it's if you don't stop, then you're going to die.
Yeah.
And that was, I got some off the internet from India. And I was in Liverpool at the time, and I took
some tramadol.
Well, it weren't tramadol. Yeah, it was meant to be, but I don't know what was in it, because within 10 minutes of taking it, I didn't know who I was. I was having hallucinations. I only got home because I put home in the sat nav, and that was the point. Then I thought, and got home. I slept for 16 hours. I was violently ill. I was violently sick. Just said to the missus, "I must be a bug or something like that." And it was that I went down the following morning, got rid of all them, flushed them down the toilet. But it was still 3 weeks after that. But I knew that was the point for me. I knew eventually I was going to have to come out and say I'm addicted to tramadol again, to painkillers, because I thought I was going to die that night. I really did. I thought, I don't know what's happening here. But I don't know. They said that there's probably some psychotic drug in it, or it weren't. It definitely weren't tramadol. There must have been all sorts in it. But that was my point. That was the point when I thought I'm going to. But it was still 3 weeks after that. Yeah. But I knew that was the point. Eventually, in the next day or couple of weeks, I was going to come out and say I needed help again.
So your journey, like myself, hasn't been straight, you know.
No.
And I'll take my hat off to anyone who stops, and that's it. You don't have to go back to it. But so sometimes, we have a rock bottom. Then, our rock bottom is our trapdoors. We go, right, hang on, that wasn't enough. We'll hit that one. We'll hit this one. People might say, oh, coming off the drugs is the easy part. It might be for some, but staying off them,
maintaining it,
is the hard part.
Yeah.
Right. Now, you know as well as me, Chris, the mental gymnastics, the intrusive thoughts, your self-esteem, your confidence, everything's affected, because when you're using, right, you are not in your right mind. You're clouding everything. All your thoughts are clouded. It's there's no feeling. You've got that inability to feel human, basically. Know what I mean? But when you take it away,
you're existing, aren't you? You're not living.
Yeah,
you're existing.
I've always said this analogy is like, it's like taking a lampshade off and there's a bare bulb. That's you. That's how vulnerable you are. You're just bare to the world. Yeah. And you're very sensitive to what people say. And I found that in the early days, I struggled massively with that sensitive side, and I took everything personal, and I was obsessed. No, not like I was I was self-obsessed.
Is this when you come off them?
Yeah.
You start. You've got to learn to live again.
Yeah, and it was like,
yeah.
I'd been addicted to drugs for like 15, 20 years. It was a relationship.
That's all you know.
I spent my lifetime just hooked on that. Take it away, and it was like, whoa, fucking hell, I'm in the real world. I've got to see people. I've got to communicating. And still having that shame and feeling that I had a label on me that said, fucking drug addict. And that's how I felt for a long time. I didn't feel as if I could fit into society like everybody else. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know, where I wanted to go. I'd never been to McDonald's. I'd never. I'd used that much, Chris. By the time I was fucking in my 30s, it was the first time I went to a Mackey's.
Yeah.
How fucking mad's that?
That is mad.
And it was like, wow.
You have to now with Joe, don't you?
Yeah, fucking hell, he works there. He's been there for 15 years. But it
is, you start again.
How for you, right? So your addiction, how long did it last?
10 years. So I was, obviously when I stopped, it was about 6 months each. So yeah, 8.5 years. 8.5 years.
It's a long time.
On it, full.
It's a long time, Chris. So you've had the experience prior to taking, those drugs, what life was like. You had a great career, behind you on that. You've on this, you've clouded everything for a bit. How did it feel in that period to come back off? What was... No, now.
Now, how do I feel now?
Be honest with yourself, right?
Today, I feel great. I have done for the last few days. When I met you, met you, keep saying it, when we seen each other for the walk, I was not great. I was going through that guilt period, that my back was a little bit sore as well. And that's the test now. When my back is sore, that, whereas before you just reach for tablets. Now I know I can't do that. But I reckon I'm about 80% now. Yeah, still got a lot of work to do. Still down days, bad days, like anybody has. But I know now, the thing that keeps me strong is the things we've set up now. So I know I can't, listen, you never say never. But I know now that my missus did a drug test on me yesterday. She can test me anytime. So that's the biggest thing for me. People ask what has been the biggest, wanting to be better for your family, wanting to be there for your family, all that sort of stuff. But you can only do that. But the biggest thing is the drug test. So if they weren't at home, you can get away with it. I know, even though I can't get them from the doctors, even though I can, I could be down the street, could find a packet on the floor, and I could take them. If I didn't have the drug test, I knew I could get away with that because you can disguise it. You know, you can just say I don't feel great today, and I'm going to bed. But the drug tests have been the biggest, and people say, well, that's extreme. But with extreme circumstances, you need extreme measures, and that's been the biggest deterrent for me. Wanting to get yes, I want to do it all for my family, but to be able to do that, I had to put real extreme measures in place, and the drug test is the one.
And so for me, right, because look, obviously I've been to prison, Chris. My.
Did you go in alt course?
I've been there. Yeah.
We went in there a few times with the foundation.
Yeah, I've been. It was like a long time ago, and it was an alt course. But when you're in prison, right, and you're on drugs, mostly it's like cannabis. That's the drug that stays in your system a lot longer. So to get round it, you've either got to drink loads of water and dilute your urine.
Do you get tested in prison?
Yeah. MDTs, you get a random drug test and mandatory drug test. Now, so sometimes you could fill a glove up with tea, warm tea, right? A little rubber glove, put it down your kecks, go for the piss test. When the screw's not looking, boom. That's how we'd get away with it. So I'm going to tell you a story now, right, about drug tests, right? Now, I'd met this girl, and I was going to Cannes Film Festival, but I was already, I'd been diagnosed with cancer, so my relapse was already in the progress. I told her I was clean. She was coming with me. She said, I want to go if you're on drugs. I said, no. But she fucking was, every fucking day. There was no stopping. I was trying, but I couldn't stop. And I remember just hiding in the bathroom with this fucking rubber glove, right, outside, doing exactly what I was doing, mimicking what I was doing in a prison. Like, I was in a cell, right, and passing it, the test.
Because you knew you would. Because
I knew I would, right. There was ways and means. See, I couldn't disguise it. Obviously I was seeing you. You can see that you're fresh.
My missus watches me.
Yeah.
So she takes a cup.
Oh, mate, about that.
She takes a cup. No, like literally, I can't go in the toilet. It's in the living room or in the kitchen. She will watch me wee into the cup, and then she will do the test.
You're better Adley owner.
She does, and then she does the test. She gets it out of the packets because you know what you could do. You could get an old test or a clean test. So she gets it out of the packet. So I know, but I know what you like. There is ways around it, but we made sure. I said, well, I don't want to go in the toilet. I want to do it in front of you every single time. So I can never take one when she's not there. So she can't even say, I want you to do one, but I'm not there. So she's.
So are these random?
These are just off the internet, yeah.
No, I mean, are these random drug tests? So
I can't turn around and say no, I'm not doing one.
So your missus goes, right.
Well, listen, if I turn around and say no, I'm not going to do it.
Well, you're hiding,
man. That's what I mean, you're hiding.
Yeah.
So she's going to go, well, you want some it.
But it's also like it helps you.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's been the biggest deterrent.
It is
because you can put on a persona and all this sort of stuff, but knowing that they are at home is.
And what are the consequences, Chris, if you refused like a test or you came back positive? Because there's got to be a consequence within the home family life.
Well,
obviously,
the biggest. Listen, you can never say never. I'm 99% confident now. If there was tablets on the table, I would not go for them. Yeah, because I'm that in a good.
No desire.
No, not had cravings for a while. Do we get them? Like you do.
Of course.
The consequences would be, the biggest one would be, it wouldn't go to the extent that it did before, because after 1 or 2 days, whenever she tested me, she'd say, right, come on. And then it would be straight back into rehab. Yeah. Straight back. So we've talked about that. It would be straight back into rehab, straight away. Where did you get them from? Because the doctors is cut off, the postman's cut off. So where did you get it from? Yeah. So we've talked about all that. But like I said, the biggest, knowing they're at home is a godsend. And I advise anybody that's trying to get clean and to stay clean to get drug tests at home. And people say, well, that's it's not extreme. You know, because I know that if I didn't, I'd be dead. I'd die. Because the ones off the internet, the amount I was taking, eventually that's going to catch up with you.
Yeah.
And I knew that I needed to do extreme measures for extreme circumstances.
And do you also feel, right, that you'd need like a loving, caring family supporting you?
Yeah, massive, yeah. So daughter knows everything. Kids are not stupid. They're not. So she knew there was an issue over the years. She's now petrified to take paracetamol, to take any tablets at all, because of she knows what it's done to me.
Yeah.
Which is really, really sad. But I understand it from her.
Yeah.
My wife is just amazing. She really is. She's amazing. Without her, I wouldn't got through it. Without my daughter, my friends, we told the the people closest to us, and then before we told everybody, sort of thing, before I did the interview. But without that support network, I'm not saying you can't do it without that support network, but in some way or the other, I tried many times to stop them. You did, you do.
Yeah,
you kid yourself, right? Last day today, I was Monday, start afresh.
It's always Monday.
It's always Monday. Yeah. So if you haven't got people around you, which most people have, seek the help. Go into rehab. There's 3 places you can search them on the internet. Go to the groups, the AA meetings, the NA meetings, all that sort of stuff. But you need some kind of help along the way.
There is different pathways.
There is.
Yeah. For me, like when I first got clean, I went to a 12-step rehab. Right, it was 2004, 2003, the end of up in Bristol, and never experienced nothing like it in my life. Put in groups, like their using was definitely a tea party compared to mine, because it judged everyone. I was different. I separated myself straight away. They look a little bit posher than me. They haven't got I don't like their trainees. Everything, right? I was comparing. That was the first thing. I was addicted to comparison. Right? So I was addicted to the comparison of things. And then the separation. Removed myself. I didn't want to engage and couldn't admit that he had a problem. And it was always justified. It's not the class A's. I can cope with that. But the gateway drugs always took me. And I realised that when I did relapse after a little period the first time, and I found myself at the fucking bottom of the stairs with me piss me kecks and everything. I was like, what the fuck? I just fella standing over me, reaching out, extending his hands to help me up. And he was the first person that when I walked into that rehab said, yeah, I'll make you a hug. Just trying to show you a bit of love and compassion here. I was like, fuck off with your fucking hugs. You know what I mean? Because I had this attitude.
Yeah. You're still in denial, isn't
Yeah, and he just walked away and said, okay, I'll be there if you ever need me. And then when I did relapse, he was there to reach out and help me. And he's been a friend ever since. That was fucking hell, it's nearly 20
Until
years
you
ago.
are ready to let go of it, or to try and beat it. And you think, I don't need that. I don't need your help. I can do it all myself. And until you actually get to that point where you need to, or you're going to die, then it's very difficult. It's really difficult. But when you do realise and you get to that, I call it the seesaw moment. You get to that, you're going to go one way or you're going to fight back. Until you get to that point, you think you know everything.
Yeah.
You think you can get away with everything.
No.
And you can't. It's impossible.
And that's that. Like that for me was that was 2004, Chris. When my journey first started in recovery. So we're talking like 19 years ago.
20 years.
19 years ago. And I've had a total, in 19 years, I've had at least 16 years abstinent. Right? And like I said, my journey hasn't been straight. I've had a few relapses and I've known why. Like I said to you last time, it wasn't the big things that were the problem. It was the little things. Like the resentments, the jealousy, the anger, my little bits of behaviour, other people's behaviour annoyed me.
It set you off.
My dad dying was okay. Girlfriend's leaving, fine. You know what I mean? I could cope with the feelings. I was upset, resentments and rejection. But it was the little things, So we had to become aware of those little problems. So my mate said he said it's the mice, not the elephants. You know what I mean? They're the ones you've got to be. They're the ones you've got to be mindful of.
How were you during lockdown?
Amazing, right?
That's when a lot of people.
See,
I relapsed in lockdown.
For me, right, I went to prison in 2018, Chris. Right, that was the last time I ever went away, and I went away clean. I just got out of a rehab, right? It was in Halstead in Essex. It was an upmarket rehab that was paid by these producers. It was full of like people who had a few quid wrapped around them. I had nothing, by the way. These were just trying to save me life, you know. So the producers paid for this. Went in 12-step rehab, got myself clean, came out, had a charge hanging over my head, went to court. Fucking hell, this has happened while I was in the grip of addiction. I've committed a crime to fund my habit, and I'm standing in the Crown Court with a bag, thinking the judge is going to look at it and go, okay, the contributing factors, he's had cancer, he was addicted to this, he's sought help, and now he's addressed his problem. It's not going to serve a purpose putting him in prison. He didn't see it that way. Looked at me yesterday. My criminal record, went back as far as I was 16, but I hadn't been in trouble for over 10 years prior to this last offence. He went, you're going to prison. Like, fucking what? Clean, by the way. Never been to jail in my life, clean. Always went like with an habit and maintained it when I was in there. This was the first time.
How long were you down for?
2 years. Right, so I went in, stayed clean all the way through it.
That must have been odd.
It was. I was in a cell with people who were smoking.
Odd. I was saying that must have been almost impossible.
It was smoke looks, Chris. They were smoking spice. They were in my cell. They were smoking heroin, and I was like, fucking hell, how am I going to get through this, right? Because I'm a big lad now, right? I've got this, I'm walking around these land, and there's a lot of drug-induced paranoia going on with these inmates. There were people trying to sell their souls, and for drugs. And what it did do is I reached out and I helped people that needed help
in there,
right? And that helped me. So I gave something back. You only keep what you've got by giving it away. So I gave my experience away to others, and I set up a group, a self-help group. We were going to where these young lads were coming in and sitting down and coming to me, and I was like, this is how I did my experience. Therapy. Yeah, so we done a little group therapy session, and it was like every single night, had people in the cell coming in and talking about like, what they want to do when they get out and how they want to stop, and they've had enough, and the families, sick and tired of them, and that helped me, and I got through that sentence without picking up anything, and I've maintained that. I haven't used since the 23rd of September 2017. That was the last time I picked up anything. Come out of that treatment centre in Essex, and I haven't used since. No, not so strong much as a paracetamol. So during lockdown, to answer that question, it was just a breeze for me. It was like it was like being in prison, but having everything.
Knowing how to deal with it.
Yeah, with your family.
Yeah.
My partner was pregnant as well at the time with our first child, so that was like.
That's a reason.
Yeah, there was a reason there. It was like, wow, I'm in my late 40s. I've got a baby on the way. I've had cancer. They said I couldn't have kids, and I've got this little miracle. What's going on? I'm gonna live for this. So yeah, I've never been one for shying away from me past and what addiction did to me, because I'm telling you now, Chris, right, and you know this as well as me. If you never had what you had, your family or nothing, and then you had no money, and you needed your drugs, your tablets, your medication, right? You'd go to any lengths. That's what you say. We'll go to any lengths to get what we need, right? And then we'll face the fucking the guilt, the shame, the consequences. Now, was that true for you? Would you have went?
Oh, anyway.
Yeah.
I used to ring the doctors and say, "Oh, I've left them down in London, need some more." COVID was a perfect. Oh, they can't send them up because they're not allowed to send envelopes anymore through the post for COVID. So that was easy. I'll get them off the internet. I would get them off friends. I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that, but you'd lie to people. Oh, you'd get them any way you could, and you'd think, right, I've got a certain amount left. I need to start the process again, so I need to get them from here. I need to get them from there. I need to get them from there, and it was like it was just going around. So I knew exactly when I was getting them, when they were coming, how many I had left. So yeah, it was all mapped out, completely mapped out. So I'd never end up without any.
Yeah, we haven't once spoke about Liverpool football.
Liverpool, yeah. Listen, they've been amazing with us. So the LFC Foundation, where I work now, that I told them. So 11 months ago, I sat down with the bosses there and said, look, this is going to be coming out. I'm clean now, but this is what's happened. And they were amazing. They said, look, any support you need, we're there for you. The football club as well. They've been brilliant, and that's a big relief as well. And obviously doing the stuff now in the community, which we do with the Liverpool Foundation, with the mental health side of things, which I'm involved with.
Tell us about that, Chris, because you see that on your top there, walking and talking.
So this is walking. Yeah, so this is walking's brilliant.
Yeah.
So Mark Crosley. So I've always walked. Always had dogs. That was my get out after games. Get out, have a walk. When Lucy come, I used to disappear with her in the pram for hours and hours and hours with the dogs. So Mark Crosley, who was in football, he found himself out of work just before lockdown. So 2020, he lost his job at Notts County. First time in 33 years he'd not been in football. And his mate said to him, "Oh, do you want to come for a walk?" And he openly admits now, saying if somebody had asked me that when I was involved, he'd have gone, "What do I want to go for a walk for?"
Yeah.
Went for it, rang me, said, "Look, I've been walking. It's amazing. It's brilliant." So it's absolutely. He says, "You do a lot of walking, don't you?" I says, "I do." He says, "Well, how about we try and set something up then?" He says, "I'm thinking of this. Would you help us?" And that's how it all started. And then, ironically, 2 months later, we were in lockdown, and that's all people could do.
Yeah.
Go for a walk. So we do that. We do a lot of charity work. We've got a game coming up against Harry Redknapp's 11 soon in Doncaster. So we do golf days. We've done coast to coast. We've done the Three Peaks. So we raise money for lesser known mental health charities. Yeah. So when you raise money and you give it to these big organisations, I'm not saying they don't do great stuff with it. You don't really know where it goes.
No.
So what we do is we buy equipment. We'll buy minibuses. We'll buy bikes for bereaved dads. We'll buy fishing equipment so people can see where the money goes to when they donate. And it's been a godsend for me.
Well, that's exactly where it was coming to as well, Chris, because, I, during the lockdown, funny enough, I'd done a little bit of charity work with my brother, and we raised money, right? We raised a hell of a lot of money for charity. And I remember when I was going through my treatments with cancer, and I got in touch with the Macmillan. Absolutely nothing for me, right? Dismissed me on the phone calls, sent me a leaflet out, supposed to send someone else to see me, nothing. That was my experience. And it's not just mine, it's a lot of other people's experience, because I've looked on Trustpilot and I've seen the reviews, and they were absolutely horrendous. They were terrible, right? So I felt, okay, so I'm not on my own here, right? So when I see people go, "Oh, we want this, that," and I don't know where it goes, because it never came to me. No one ever said to me, we can support you with this nurse, or we can financially give you a grant, because I was in work, I was on a pittance. I was working for the NHS at the time. I had to stop because of sick pay became absolutely zero. I had a house to pay for and everything at the time. So when I raised this money with my brother Joe, I was getting a hell of a lot of money coming in. I was like, fuck now. Sometimes you think it's your own, you know what I mean? There's a lot. What we did is we went round, me and my brother Joe, we went round to every organisation and said, okay, we've got 8 organisations here. We're going to give £10,000 a year to Alder Hay Hospital for the kids. And we went and personally gave us a, yeah, there you go. Joe's got a big check there. He was all made up because he's actually achieved something by this, by doing this.
I've seen the videos. I remember seeing them.
And then we went and done these little autism clubs, and we give these a couple of thousand there, a couple of thousand there, a couple of thousand there, and they was delighted. And we got letters saying, this is paid for these classes for the whole year. Yeah. So we knew where that went. Because like you said, you can give it to big organisation. I believe you're doing the right thing, Chris. Yeah. What you're saying there, buying things for
well, that's what we said when we said, right, we don't, because you don't know where it goes.
No,
it can do. Listen, I'm sure they do great work, but it probably a lot of it pays for new offices for the big wigs and stuff like that.
The CEO, I found out that the CEO of Macmillan was on £190,000 a year. How the fuck? What justifies that? Yeah. That's wages, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's what we said, right? We want, because when people donate, you don't know, you're giving, like, you see it all the time, but you don't really know where it goes. So we said, right, we want people to know where it goes to, but we don't want to give it to massive organisations. We want it to the real heart and soul of places. So we've given a lot. We've all said, right, I'd like it to go to this, to that, to that. So we pick and choose what we do, but we then know where it's going, and most of us have done things for that organisation where it's going to. So that's the way we'll always carry on. And we've had letters, we've had requests of people saying, look, mum and dad have lost their jobs, can't pay for my treatment here and stuff. So we dig into it. Is it true? Yes. And then we'll pay for treatments, or we'll pay for classes, we'll pay for courses and stuff like that. So we've done all that. So we've got people that look into all that, because we know in this world people lie. Yeah. And they try and get money off you. So it's nice knowing what it goes to. But yeah, that's big Mark Crosley and all the gang. So we've got a golf. We're getting a meet together in May, and then we've got the big game in June. Yeah, June the 4th. That'll be the first time I put the gloves on in a while.
Are you getting the gloves on?
Yeah. So I'm playing the first half, and Norm's playing the second. But Lucy's going to train us in the garden over the next few weeks. So I need to get a little bit done. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, really looking forward to that.
Funny enough, Chris, I was driving and then 50, and I seen your your face on the bus, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Chris Kirkland.
Yeah.
So you were
stops people getting on it, I think.
It's the stagecoach.
Yeah. When I seen it, I thought, blooming hell, no one's going to get on that bus with my mug on it anymore.
So that's CBD.
Supreme CBD oil, yeah. Anthony Fowler.
What do you think of that then?
It's helped me. Listen.
Yeah.
People will be sceptical and stuff like that, and rightly so. I was before I took it, but I tried CBD oil, and this is when I also knew when I was going to go cold turkey. I knew you need something. So it's you need to try and help you get through it. There's nothing in it. There's no addictiveness in it at all. It's all natural stuff. So I rang Anthony. I'd been on it for a couple of years before, knew it worked, and I thought, right, this could help me get through withdrawals a little bit better. And listen, it was horrendous, but without this stuff, I think it'd have been a lot worse. So I rang up, got the strongest stuff, and said, look, this is what I'm going to be going through. So I used that to help us get through it. Now for sleep, anxiety, anything like that, it really does work for me.
Yeah.
Not saying it works for everyone. If you're sceptical, and rightly so, give it a go. But I think it's like 97% success. People that try it, it's worked for them. You've got the gummies for sleep, anxiety. But like I said, it won't work for everybody, but it does.
So, did you think it helps with anxiety? And because to be fair, I remember I've been on a CBD, but I've been on a THC, CBD, which was what I needed. Yeah, because it was, it was I didn't believe that the CBD Supreme stuff. Yeah, it was more. It wasn't the THC.
Well, it's legal, isn't it, in America and places like that, THC stuff. So that's not in this stuff.
No.
But this. You hear stories about people with cancer with, terrible, and to go on this stuff. And there was one on this morning the other day. The woman, I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, no.
She got told basically she had 10 months to live. I'm sure this is that story. And she started taking this, and it cleared her. Cleared the cancer. Yeah. She stopped having chemo. She stopped having all the treatments.
I still had my chemo.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I still had my chemo while I was on the THC.
Right, got you.
I took that as well. I took everything.
Yeah. Do you think the THC stuff helped?
Do you know what? I don't know, mate, because to be fair, I was smoking heroin and crack cocaine as well. Yeah. So
you don't know. But I'll tell you another thing as well. My mate rang me, and his dog got given 2 months to live. Yeah. Brain tumour. Tried everything else. Didn't want to go through the treatment, and he says, "What this oil stuff?" I said, "Listen, I don't know. Try it. Try it on your dog." He tried it. The dog lived for 10 more months. Yeah. So did you still take it? Did you still use it? Yeah, every now and again. Yeah. So it's non-addictive. So I could go a week. I could go 2 weeks. Not use any of it, but I feel like if I'm going to something and I feel a little bit anxious, which I don't know, I like talking, it's great for me, but sometimes, sleeping, if I don't sleep great, which is not very often, I'll take it and knocks me straight out. Yeah. So it's worked wonders for me. I know for a lot of people it has, some people it won't. That's just, but give it a go if you are struggling. But the success stories we've had and the people that have messaged saying, look, I've tried this. It's worked brilliantly for my wife on all sorts of conditions, everything like that. Yeah. It's been amazing.
And that's it, mate. If it works for some, it works. You know what I mean? So what else are you doing with your life, Chris?
So the LFC Foundation. So I'm the community representative for them. So I go around different projects, schools, food banks, employability, coaching. So wherever they send us, we've just started one up just at Jeffrey Humble down the road for bereaved dads. So dads that have lost their children, they come along on Thursdays. It's Tuesday this week, so we've got an awards night actually at the Titanic on Thursday for it. So they come along, we sit them in the dressing room at Jeffrey Humble. They open up, they chat. Last week was the first time that they'd all opened up and spoke in the change rooms. There was 18 in there.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's really powerful stuff. Really powerful stuff. And it's all about them, whatever they need. So it's not about us that are doing it, like Mark Henderson, Andy Hanlon and Bryn, and through the foundation, and I help as well. It's about what they need. So they tell us, look, can we do this? We'd like to do this tonight. So it's all about them. We don't say, right, you're doing this, you're doing that. So we do that, and then I do a quiz with them. So we have a quiz. So they go in teams of 4 or 5, and then I say come out and do football with them on the pitch. And it was the other week that we couldn't do it because remember we had the bad weather, the snow come again, so we had to cancel. And then last week when we said, look, how's your week been? We missed this session. They said that this session for them is like
a lifesaver. Yeah.
So that just when you hear things like that, and it's not about us, but when you hear how important it is to people what you do, it makes it great. Yeah,
and that's what's going to keep you on track, you know, Chris.
Well, I knew that.
Right.
Yeah.
You giving back to the community, right? Giving a piece of your soul back, right?
Yeah.
is going to keep you
Yeah.
on the right track. And I agree with this, mate, right? 100%. Right? I've always said that we can't keep what we've got by if we don't give it away.
No.
Right? And you give it away, right? Freely. You know, you do it and you go to these places. And I couldn't even imagine sitting there and how powerful that experience is with those young men or whoever. 18, wow, in a
18
group,
men,
you know.
So it'll get bigger. It'll get bigger and bigger. But we've got Honeysuckle in town.
Yeah.
Marie that runs that. She sort of helps us do it as well. So we've got the awards at the Titanic on Thursday. But it's not about the awards. But what I would like with them is, I would, instead of them sitting down and saying, well, we've got this, we've got that in the area, who we're going to give this award to, go out and see what they do. Yeah. So if somebody would have been in that dressing room with us and listened to them stories, so go out, whoever deserves it the most, whatever these awards are, but don't just think, oh, well, read it and say, well, they've done this, they've done that. Go and actually see what these things do in the community. We've got some amazing people, amazing groups, you know, not just in, but all over, but where we live in Merseyside. Go and see the difference. Sean's place in town, you know, they do incredible stuff, man to man, and, you know, men go in there and talk. And so we've got some, Debbie who runs that with Sean's place. We've got some incredible places in Merseyside. So when people are giving awards out, and I know they've got a tough job, go and actually see the impact that these groups have. It's brilliant. But I love all that. Do all that. I do a lot of other stuff as well. A lot of walking. Snowdon tomorrow. There's a big group of us going down there. But it's just keeping busy, mate. It's having a routine. Where I struggle when I've not got nothing on. I have to be busy. Yeah, I have to be busy.
That's my saying. You either get busy living or you get busy dying.
You do, yeah. I have to be busy. So I like to know. I don't think too far ahead, but I like to know that week what I'm doing that week, and it's all planned out. And exercise is like, you know, you're a fit man yourself. Exercise is key.
It's because when you're in your own company, you're in a bad neighbourhood. That's a true saying. You know, you've got those intrusive thoughts coming through the back door, and that's when, you know, you're at your most vulnerable. Yeah. So yeah, you know, for those people out there who do struggle, you know, it's to get busy, get into a routine, get some discipline in your life, and you know, you should be okay. Yeah,
lighter nights help now as well. I hate the dark. Yeah. You know, when it's 6 o'clock and but now it's what, 8, half 8, couple of months, it'll be 10. Get yourself out there. You know, brilliant. So now with the walking and stuff, it's that's a lifesaver for me. So I love doing the challenges. I get involved. People say, well, we're doing this, will you do it? I'll say, yeah, not a problem. So I've got 3 peaks coming up again soon. I said I'd never do that again. Over 24. You done that one? No. Over 24 hours? Yeah, I would. Yeah, you'd do it.
That's a challenge for...
By the way, it is. Yeah, it's the hardest thing I've done. I was walking down the stairs backwards for 2 or 3 days after.
I think me and our Joe, we're going to walk up...
need to come on a walk with you.
Yeah, we were going to do a charity. We're planning it. It's in to do Ben Nevis. A big one for Joe. He done Snowdon. That was massive.
Ben Nevis is, yeah.
That was a massive achievement for Joe because he got off the couch, from the couch to climbing Snowdon, and it took us a long time.
Done Scaffell as well.
I can't remember what we've done.
Scaffell Pike up in the lakes.
You have?
If you do that's part. So it's Ben Nevis, Scaffell, and Snowdon.
We haven't done Ben Nevis, but we're gonna do. But Ben Nevis is on the cards.
Yeah, it's nice.
So me and Joe are gonna do that.
It's a long way up. It's about 5 hours from here, 6 hours.
Yeah.
But that's the start of the 3 peaks. We did that one.
He's in training now, you know.
Is he?
Yeah. He's in training just for his own benefit, his own health. He's eating well. He's on the prep meals. People love our kid. I love him. And
he's great. I've said before, my missus, she follows him a lot.
I just love encouraging him. Like I subtly drop something in, a little hint, you know, because I can see him eating jelly babies and drinking cans of Coke and, you know, rooting in the fridge, and I go, lad, you know, you want to try this, you want to try that. You're not gonna. The next thing my mum said, look, he doesn't eat no bread, he doesn't eat no crap, he's eating this, he's eating that. I've got a friend who gets him prep meals and bringing them down, so he gets them today, Sunday, bang, Tuesday is prep meals again. He's in the park every night, he's running press-ups, sit-ups.
But it feels better
jogging. He does.
Yeah.
He does, right. And he's just a lovely soul, so yeah, getting fit.
Yeah. Will he be alright, me coming on a walk with him?
He will.
Will it be in Liverpool? Yeah.
He'll probably
won't try and push me off, will he? Or anything.
He'll
like
probably
that.
rip you like he had when Razor came down. He was giving Razor a bit of an hard time. Yeah, so you know, Razor he loved Razor loves him. But yeah, we'll have a good time on his walk.
You're gonna stay up?
Yeah. We're gonna stay up. Oh, what
Everton.
The points?
Everton.
There?
What's that with the?
Was it 9 points deducted?
Oh, Everton.
Yeah.
When?
I'm sure I read it yesterday.
They're getting deducted 9 points?
Yeah, because of a £400 million. Something, I can't remember what it was, but there was...
Well, they will be going down if they're getting deducted 9 points.
Yeah, but I don't know what the time scale on the deduction at the points. It might be the new
Take the
season.
points out of it.
Yeah.
I think they'll stay up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
think
do.
will.
Yeah, I think they will, Chris.
They've got Monday, didn't they? Is it Chelsea?
Yeah.
Is it Chelsea Monday? No.
Well, we'll find out. But what'll happen is this podcast will be up.
Yeah.
and the score will load everything. Fucking blah, blah.
Yeah, I'm trying to forget our result yesterday against City, but there you go.
Anyway, we're coming to the end.
Yeah.
Right. I always ask the guest this one, Chris. Any pearls of wisdom? What would you say to a young Chris Kirkland coming through the doors of life? God. What would you tell
a great
yourself?
Question, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get asked that a lot. I would say don't bottle things up. Make sure you talk to people, and don't think that you can take the world on yourself.
Yeah, brilliant.
You need help.
Yeah.
No matter how hard you are, how hard you think you are, how invincible you think you are, because this world will kick you down without a shadow of a doubt.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that,
Top man.
thanks, Chris.
Brilliant,
Lovely.
mate. No, thank you. Thanks for having a chat.